Welcome to Dynamics Corner. This is Chris.
And this is Brad. Welcome to this episode. This episode was recorded on August 31st, 2022. Chris. Here we are again.
What's going on? What is going on? This is quick tips. Quick tips, man.
Quick tips.
I love these sessions, man. This is good stuff.
We go through this every time.
No. It's all good.
I do enjoy the quick
Friday.
tips, and I appreciate them greatly. So I think this week, for our quick tips, I think we'll have to put you on the hot seat. Right? I want you to do a few quick tips for us. I think that let's go with on Business Central. And I need or would like to know the information that's available for the table, the page, or whatever I'm looking at on the screen.
Yeah, this you're referring to inspect pages, yes?
Yes, that's the term. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, inspect pages is actually very helpful, especially if you are on a particular record. And a lot of times pages don't necessarily show you everything as well. This is also helpful if you're personalizing your pages too, so you can see what's available. But we're going to focus right now on inspect pages. So for example, if I'm navigating to customers, and you can do this in pretty much any page menu, right? Whether that's in a list view or whether you're directly on a record in this case. So if I open Trade Research, right? So I'm going to open this record. Trade Research, Brad's company.
Look,
it's your company, Brad.
Look at that.
You're in the company. This is actually, as a side note, this was a record that was updated via Power Apps. So which we'll talk about that in the future. It's a little bit of a quick drop there where this came from. So anyway, back to quick tips. An easiest way to get to quick tips, and I think there is a shortcut for this one. All right, so if you want to look at the record of every field that's available for this page, or even table data below this page, you can go ahead and click this question mark up here under Help. And if you hover all the way down, there's called Help and Support. So what I'm going to do is click the Help and Support link, which opens a separate page called Information. And from here, down below, if you keep scrolling, Help and Support page has a lot of information in here as well, right? So you have some links into the community. You'll have troubleshooting, which version you may be on, and you can look at additional logging. But in the troubleshooting area, you can see that there's three options. One is view the last known error. So if you're having issues on this particular record, you can also click and view the last known error. But we're going to focus right now is inspect pages and data. So I'm going to click inspect pages and data. And you'll notice on the right-hand side, you'll see page inspection. There's a lot to know or understand within this page inspection. One is what page you're on, right? So if you were on a custom page, it will let you know that you're in page, custom page 50,000 card. In this case, we're on a customer card, object 21, and it's a card type. And here's a table that pulls the data from, right, for this customer card. In this case, it's pulling from the customer table, object 18. Okay. Down below, you'll see the table fields. So the table fields, you'll see the number, the code, the name of the customer. And if you scroll down, there's a lot of fields here that may or may not be on your current view. So you can see all what's available on this particular
that's
page.
Interesting. I do also believe that Control Alt F1 is the keyboard shortcut.
Yes.
I think that some people prefer to use shortcuts for everything, even on a web client, which is nice. So now we have all of the fields. In this case, we can see the field name, the field value, the field number, as well
Hmm.
as the data type of that field. The
Yes.
customer has a lot of fields. Is there a way I can
Yes.
search for a specific field if I know that there's a field that has a value? For example, there may be a particular value that I know exists in the table and I want to see that value. It's not visible on the page, but is there an easy way to find the field in that list instead of having to scroll through? The customer table has
Yes.
1,000 records.
Yes, that is correct. So
Excuse
there's a
me,
search
fields,
menu here.
fields, fields.
Fields. Yeah, there's hundreds of fields here. So there is a search menu
I was
here
exaggerating a
that you
little.
can
I said
quickly
thousands of fields in the customer table.
thousands. It could be. It could be,
I don't know.
depending
I
on
like
your
to go big.
extensions.
When I speak about things, I try to be a little extreme,
Go
just
big
to
or go home.
well, just to validate the point. I think sometimes, and some people always correct me, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, I'm just
The,
exaggerating a little bit
the,
for effect.
that is actually I've seen that before where you have I don't know almost 1,000 I would say fields because of extension. So we'll talk about that here briefly. But yes, to answer your question, Brad, that there is a search menu here that you can start searching. So if I search for general uh, business, general, oh yeah, yep, there you go, general business posting group, and I can go ahead and just search for that. And it's going to return the field that I was looking
So
for.
your search is a partial search. So if you type it, it will shoot for a match for whatever you type. So if there are multiple fields with the syntax that you're typing, or excuse me, with the characters that you're typing, they'll show up. Great, so you can see them all. Nice, that's
Yep,
interesting. I,
exactly.
I
Isn't
s-
that what they call it? Fuzzy search? Is that the term?
I don't know if that's
Fuzzy search?
fuzzy. I mean, I think a fuzzy search is a little differently, but the page filter. See, I'm going to ask you questions now, right? So, what's that page filter thing do?
Yeah, page filters. There is a user filters. This is in this case my filter for this particular record, looking at the date filter for 7/26/2022, and that would be your filter for your record
So
in
if
this
we
case.
had a list, so you use your general business posting group, if we filtered on a specific general business posting group and we had a list of customers, that information would show there.
Yes, it
Okay.
would.
And just to go
It
back to
would.
a fuzzy search is when you try to match a string approximately.
Approximately,
So
yeah.
it's when you go in Google and you spell the word peace wrong, instead of doing the I before E except after C, you do it backwards, it will still come up with the proper spelling of peace. So,
Yeah.
or I guess you could
Yeah.
say
So
peace, not like a piece of wood, but peace be with you. So, um,
yes, yes. So yeah, page inspection is very powerful. There's also an option here called view table. You can drill down into the entire table for the customer. So if you navigate and click this, it's going to, of course, going to pop up a separate menu that you can't see right now, but it will give you a list of all your customers. So I'm going to go ahead and just allow my pop up, and you'll see this record here for your customer list. So hopefully it takes me there. Take me to table 18 and see what that looks like.
see, that's interesting because I always change the URL to put the parameter for the table and the table number. And I use the page
At the
inspector
end.
sometimes to find the table.
Yeah. Yeah, page inspector is very helpful to narrow down some of these unknown fields, unknown information for that particular record or particular page list or page you're on. So in this case, it took me to the customer table, which is object 18. So it doesn't really
Change
give
the
you too
view. Can you
much.
change the view of this table so I can see all of
Yeah,
the records? There you go.
yeah. So you can see. Let me expand this a little bit more, and you can see all the all the fields for this customer table.
Oh,
So there's a
great.
lot,
So you can use
right?
the page inspector to see the
Yeah.
fields behind a particular record when you're looking at the page. But then if you want to see the entire record data set, not in the page inspector, you can do it by view table. That's interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So
And you
that
can't
is
edit
pays
tables, right?
inspection.
You can't edit the
You
table
can't
data.
edit. No.
Okay, good. I just want to make
You,
sure.
yeah.
That could be a little dangerous. Okay,
Yeah.
no,
See, I have
thank
no
you.
options to edit
That page
here. So no
inspector is
option to edit
great.
here.
I like
Yes,
it.
it is. It's
I
very
like it
helpful.
a lot.
Very, very helpful.
Now, let's see what else do you have for me, because the page inspector we found is a useful tool. What else do you have for me today?
Um, let's see. One of the things, data migration is very important, right? And when you're moving to, from one platform, whatever you're coming from, current ERP, QuickBooks, SAP, whatever, and you're selling a product, there's typically an image that you want to capture. And I get asked about this all the time.
Image of
And
the product. So if you have like a
image of the
product
product.
catalog, or if somebody wants to see what the image is of the item or see what the item looks like.
Yes, exactly. So, with Business Central, and I think this also existed in Nav, is the images, and importing images to the records has always been cumbersome. And whether you build something around that to do a bulk import, or you'd have to do it individually, which nobody wants to do. And so, Microsoft introduced the import module in Business Central. So I can walk you through how to do that. Very, very easy. So let's take a look at the first thing you have to do is, name your items. You have to name your items where matches to the item number of that picture. So in this case, you see a few examples I have. I have these item numbers, SP-SCM3002. And if I go ahead and take a look at that from Business Central, if I navigate to items, let me see if that item existed. Okay, so I think that item existed all the way down here. So yes, I have some items here, SP-SCM3002. I got 01 and 03. So for you to be able to notice that I don't have any pictures for this particular item. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do bulk import, and I don't want to have to do this individually. Now 3, you can do this individually, but if you have a ton of items that has no image and you want to import, this is the easiest way to do it. Okay, so first you name it. Second, you put them in a folder. So I already have BC item images here. So I have those 3 items that I need to import. I got 1, 2, and 3. So what I'm going to do is going to zip this folder. That's one of the things that requires you. It has to be in a zip file. So I'm just going to go ahead and compress it. Now, if you're in Windows machine, you'll have to do, .zip. You can compress it that way as well. Or archive, I think is what it's called in Windows. In my case, if you're happen to be on an Apple Mac OS, you can compress this folder, and that would generate your zip file. So
There's nothing better than the
yeah.
Mac OS.
I know someone's gonna fight us for that one day.
No,
but,
I think we're moving closer and closer to the Mac.
Yes. There in future episodes we'll talk about running VS Code on M1 Apple Silicon.
Oh, I can't speak to that, but I can speak to running VS Code on a Mac and doing development. When we get there.
We get there.
When we get there.
When we get there. We'll have to have a guest that's also a developer running Windows and see what the pros and cons are. But anyway, so when you're zipping this folder, BC item images, you can give it a different name as long as it ends with .zip. The contents of the zip file is what matters the most. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I've saved it. I have a zip file.
So you have a zip file that consists of a number of images, and those images are named for each of the items that it represents.
Yes, that is correct. And one thing I forgot to note too is that it has to be a bitmap image. So BMP is what's currently supported. I'm sure Microsoft may change that in the future.
Is that's only for the bulk import? That's not for
Yes, just for the
because
bulk
I know
import. That's
because I
correct.
do know that you can have different media types. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
JPEG. Yeah, yeah. In this case, bitmap. I think bitmap 2 is a smaller footprint.
No,
Is
no,
it? Or
no,
it's
no.
or it's larger. I'm sorry, it's
Yes,
larger,
larger.
larger. Because I think one of these images is like four megs. So you get. I don't know the details of the bitmap and differences, but bitmap does. Yes, you're correct. It does. It's a larger file than any of the ones, less compressed maybe. But anyway, back to the import. Going back into Business Central, what I'm going to do is go to click this Tell Me and search for item import. And you'll notice that there's going to be import item pictures. So that's the only single task that return with item import. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this. So you got this entire page here that it's very simple, it's very straightforward. It's going to ask you for the zip file. If it already has an existing image for that item, it's going to ask you if do you want to replace the whole thing. It's going to tell you how many it's going to add, how many it's going to replace, how many total pictures you have, how many it's going to, and then the result, which is in the right-hand side, what's added and what was replaced. So what we're going to do is go ahead and click this three dots here and select that file that we just created. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate. There's my zip. Click open. And there you go. So I am seeing the three items that I have. Now notice I have these random items here. It's more likely caused by cache, but the system's smart enough to know like, hey, this item does not exist. So what it's going to do is going to recommend to skip it. Okay. And so
That's
I
your
can leave it there.
Mac little image file that goes with it
Yes,
with Windows when they take it. Just to
that is correct. That is correct. And then it tells you kind of the results after we import this. Notice there's 0 right now, but it tells you what it's going to add. It's going to add 3 images, which is the 3 that we have. And there's a total of 7 because of these phantom ones here, which is okay. It's going to skip. It's not going to cause any issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import this right now and click Import Pictures. Okay, it just went through and notice that the import status has changed to completed. So what we're going to do is I'm going to confirm that this item images are correct. So I'm going to go back and scroll all the way down, and you notice that now there are images in here. The paint is black, the paint is red, and the paint is white. Okay, so let's
I
say
would
for
have been
example,
impressed if you had the red paint can go to the black paint and then the white. So if
yeah,
you can replace an existing image if one exists, you can add a new image if it doesn't exist. So you have some flexibility there
yes.
if you update your catalog, you update your products. It's interesting.
Yeah, you have flexibility. Let's say, for example, this was really not maybe a white paint. Maybe this was supposed to be blue. Okay, so what you do is just go back to your folder, your picture. Here's my blue paint right there. Different item number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this number and just give it a different item number. So I'm going to move this and change this to, let's say this is supposed to be 3. And let's say someone gave you the wrong file. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it back to my BC item. I'm going to replace it. Okay, I no longer need this. I'm going to create a new one. So make sure that that is correct now with the blue paint. And I'm going to compress this again. And there's my compress. Now going back to Business Central, import image, import item pictures. And I'm going to select that zip file once again. All right, so what I'm going to do is going to go back into the import item here, import item pictures. And since I'm already doing one and replacing one, I'm going to keep it simple and just create a zip file for that particular item. We'll still illustrate the replacement component of the import item pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and click choose here. navigate to that single file because I'm going to change it from white paint to blue paint. And there it is. You'll see that there is a skip because it already sees that there's already an existing picture. So what I'm going to do is I can change this to, you can't change it from here, by the way. You'll have to click replace pictures here. Okay, so once I note that, it's going to change the status from skip to pending. And notice that pictures to replace is going to replace one picture.
So it's an all or nothing setting. So if you had just one image that you wanted to replace, doing what you did here is probably the better suggestion, because
Correct.
if you have multiple images, it would replace those as well. Perfect.
Exactly, especially if you don't need to replace them anyway. It just kind of speeds up your import process. So here I'm going to go ahead and import this guy. So give me 1 second and import pictures. And then there you go. My import status completed. So if I navigate back to the items, I should now see that paint to be blue.
Look at that fanciness.
Yeah.
Those are
so,
two quick tips right there. The page inspector, Control Alt F1, and the bulk image import. Oh, you call it the image import.
Pictures.
Yeah, bulk.
Image. Is it pictures? I think it's called pictures. I keep saying image myself, but item import pictures, I think it's called, just to be correct here. Item import. I import item pictures, so even backwards. So yeah, so quick tips. You could do this right now in under 20 minutes.
No, that's great.
So
but
it's amazing.
Chris, before you go, I have a question.
Yes.
How do you catch a unique rabbit?
How do I catch a unique rabbit?
Yes.
I don't know, with a unique carrot?
Unique up on it. How do you catch a tame rabbit?
How do you catch a tame rabbit?
Yes.
I don't know.
The tame way. Thank you very much, Chris. I will talk to you next time.
Man. All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care.